So for my Catcher in the Rye project, I decided to make a video blog based off the CW TV series Gossip Girl. So the show is about an anonymous blogger who spills the gossip about rich, privileged teenagers living on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And the storyline is that no one knows who she is, but she seems to know everything about the lives of these teens. And she basically keeps tabs on their day-to-day lives, and she narrates the show. When I started reading Catcher in the Rye, I was pretty well into Gossip Girl around season 3, and Holden instantly reminded me of Chuck Bass because I started off not liking either of them, but the more I got to know them and their character, I realized what they were going through, and I liked them. And so I read Catcher in the Rye, picturing Chuck as Holden, since they're really similar in their personality as well as their situation. So obviously the first thing that comes to mind is that they're both teenage boys growing up alone in New York City. And personality-wise, they both have this slightly negative outlook on life, and as well as like their bad decisions, both with their underage drinking, smoking, prostitutes, all of those kind of things. And they both try to act a lot more mature than they actually are. They both want to act like adults, and they try so hard to do this, but sometimes it's hard for them. But the thing that stuck out to me the most was that they both struggle with having relationships with their families, their friends, and also romantically. And so that's why I decided to make a quote-unquote Gossip Girl episode that looked into these parts of Chuck Bass's life that reminded me a lot of Holden's life in Catcher in the Rye. And so I wanted to look at how they're both similar. So some of the key things that I wanted to compare in their lives were, for one, is the adults in their life. Since the adults in their lives of both Holden and Chuck are not very present, and the most obvious one being they're not very present parents. And so both of them have kind of learned to not rely on their parents, and they don't expect much from their parents. And just from adults in general, like they never had adults who were really there for them. So that affected both of them greatly. And obviously the biggest one that I had noticed was just like Holden had his little sister Phoebe that was kind of there to ground him and make him realize that he's loved. Chuck's girlfriend, Blair Waldorf, was the one who played that same role in Gossip Girl, since she was the only one that Chuck truly cared about, even though he struggled to admit it, since he was scared. He had never had anyone who was there for him, and it was hard for him to admit that. But he realized that she was the only one who never gave up on him and would love him no matter what. So these two characters really stuck with me, which is why I wanted to compare them, and that's why I decided to do this for my Catcher in the Rye media assignment.